Gravitas, co-presented by Skoda. Kushaq, choose what really matters.
Let's now talk about the reactions to Aukus. How has the world taken this announcement? China's outrage is understandable. They're getting boxed in. But some in the West are equally unhappy with what has happened, not because China is being targeted, but because they have been left behind. The French, for example, are livid. They have lost out big time, both financially and strategically. This submarine project was supposed to be a French undertaking. In 2016, they signed an agreement. France's naval group would build a new fleet for Australia. There was big money involved, almost $66 billion. But then came Aukus. They basically swooped in and stole the deal. France is hurt and angry, and their foreign minister is making sure the world knows.
This isn't done between allies, and this isn't done between players who want to develop a coherent, structured Indo-Pacific strategy. In proper French, this is really a stab in the back. We created a relationship of trust with Australia, and that trust has been broken. And today I am angry.
Cette confiance est trahie.
Strong words there. Clearly, France wants to be part of this partnership. Here's what their embassy in Washington said, and I'm quoting, America's choice to exclude a European ally and partner such as France from a structuring partnership with Australia at a time when we are facing unprecedented challenges in the Indo-Pacific region shows a lack of coherence that we can only note and regret. Trust the Europeans to flaunt entitlement. France believes it automatically qualifies for all Indo-Pacific alliances. But why? Their president wants to trade with China. In February, he said the EU should not gang up on Beijing. That's what Macron said. Don't gang up on Beijing. So what's the problem now? Why does Macron suddenly feel left out? There's obviously money involved and prestige. This double cross comes at the wrong time for the French president. Angela Merkel is retiring. That makes Macron, Europe's natural leader, getting dumped in public will not help his stature. The bottom line is this: the Indo-Pacific needs enthusiastic partners, not half-hearted European have-beens, which is why Britain finds itself on this table. Boris Johnson has been leading a pivot in British policy. He sent a carrier strike group to the South China Sea. Compare that with what the EU did. A German warship, WION, is also in the South China Sea. But they did not want to hurt China's feelings. So the ship tried to make a courtesy stop in Shanghai. Do you know what happened? What the Chinese did? They denied permission. They openly snubbed the Germans. This kind of hesitancy will not help in the Indo-Pacific. This is not just, and it's not just Europe. New Zealand too is second-guessing this campaign.
Well, certainly they couldn't come into our internal waters. Our legislation means that nothing that is wholly or fully powered, no vessel that is wholly or fully, partially or fully powered by nuclear energy is able to enter into our internal waters. So that is in fact a position that has been held across parties for a long period of time.
So the Aukus hasn't just rattled China, it has rattled US allies as well, at least some of them. How much of this is bluster and how much of it is serious? For starters, this is not the first Indo-Pacific alliance. We have the Five Eyes, we have the Quad, we have the AUKUS. How is this one different? You see, the Aukus focuses on military capabilities. The other alliances don't, or they don't spell it out. The Five Eyes, for one, is about intelligence sharing. The Quad is still talking about trade and climate change. And the AUKUS is too narrow. The Indo-Pacific needed a forceful military alliance, and this could be the one. And I'll tell you why. The Americans are heavily invested in it. They don't normally share nuclear reactor technology. They've only done it once, way back in 1958 with Britain. And right now, Joe Biden desperately needs a win. So he's putting a lot of political capital into Aukus. Plus, the submarines are just the start. America plans to arm Australia with Tomahawk cruise missiles and long-range anti-ship missiles. This alliance will bulk up Australian defense. There is no pretense of competition with China anymore. This is direct confrontation. Like they say in poker, all in. Where does that leave India and the Quad? Joe Biden did reassure his Indo-Pacific allies. But is the region becoming too crowded now? Too many alliances, too many objectives? The good news for India, though, is the level of commitment. America, Britain, Australia, they're all key allies of New Delhi. All three are on the same page against China. India won't have to convince these countries. They clearly are on board. But what about Quad? Is America moving on from Japan and India? Early days, it doesn't seem like it. Quad was never really a military alliance. They never said it. It focused on global commons, as they put it, trade, climate change, and recently COVID-19. Aukus gives Quad some breathing room. There is no pressure now to become the Asian NATO or to build a fleet against China. Aukus is doing just that. Instead, the Quad can dismantle China's economic dominance through new supply chains and trade deals. Basically, the Quad and Aukus can complement each other. In that sense, New Delhi will welcome this alliance. But there's a hidden message there. India must take note of what happened to France and Europe. The alliance of democracies needs active partners, not hesitancy. Now is not the time for second guessing. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.
Gravitas, co-presented by Skoda. Kushaq, choose what really matters.